kingdom of Israel!
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth, where moth and rust doth corrupt, and where thieves break through and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, corrupt, and where thieves do not break through nor steal. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
The book of Psalms, chapter 16 and verse 11. It says, "Thou wilt show me the path of life." So we're on the path of life. The path of life leads to paradise. The path of life leads to glory, which the glory is the kingdom of heaven. And we're on that path of life. We're walking on the path of the tree of life to gain eternal life.
Consider the lilies, how they grow. They toil not, they spin not. And yet I say unto you that Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. If then God so clothed the grass which is today in the field and tomorrow is cast into the oven, how much more will he clothe you, O ye of little faith? And seek not ye what ye shall eat or what ye shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind. For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. But rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Sell that ye have, and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heavens that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also.
To eternal peace and joy.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Rakakwadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem Rakakwadash. Pushing to get up out there. Shalom to the hopeful elect, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. All right. And what I want to get into with this lesson is dealing with focus on the glory beyond the straight gate. All right. Because we know a part of this walk, all right, is that before we get to the glory, we have to go through the straight gate. There's no way around it, you know, and Yahweh Shai, as the scriptures say, the author and finish of our faith, you know, going back to the word author, which is a pioneer. Okay, he had his straight gate that he had to go through, which was the cross. You know, there was no other way for him to get back to glory back to the right hand of the Father, all right, in his position of honor, then through his straight gate, which was the cross, and we all have our customized straight gate that we have to go through before we get to our glory. If we're of the elect, Lord willing, we of that number, you know. So I want to get into it. Let's go to the book of Matthew, starting off with Yahweh Shai and his example. All right, Matthew 26:38. Then said he unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. And he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, as not as I will, but as thou wilt. So Yahweh Shai is asking the cup of the cross to be removed from him. Now, when you go into this word cup, you see, because he understood, all right, the agony, he was endured, and imagine, their weight on you, knowing your whole life, how it ends, imagine it, that weight on you your whole life, and then getting to that moment, you see. Now, when you go into this word cup, okay, in the Greek, it's
Strong's G 4221. Paterion.
Otarion.
Paterion.
All right, which is, okay, when you go to metaphorically, it says one's lot or experience, whether joyous or adverse, divine appointments, whether favorable or unfavorable, are linked to a cup which the Most High presents one to drink. So of prosperity and adversity, man. So before, everyone has their lot. Okay, it says lot or experience, whether joyous or adverse. So we know we have to go through adversity to get to eternal joy. That's our divine appointment. Okay, we have to go through moments of unfavor to get to eternal favor. You see, there's no getting around it. All right, and it's appointed for us all. And see, the thing about it, we know that there's glory on the other side. Okay, because Yahweh Shai came into his glory when he went through his adversity, man. You see, so we know that we all have our cup. You see, we're going to get it. It says he cometh unto the disciples, and this is Matthew 26:40. It says he cometh unto the disciples and finding them asleep, and said unto Peter, what could you not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. You see, and the spirit is willing, to go through that adversity. Okay, to go through the affliction to get to their glory. The flesh is not. Okay, the flesh, wants to preserve itself. Okay, the flesh wants to be comfortable all the time. Okay, but the spirit, is willing to go through that affliction. That's why we have to be in the spirit. That's why we have to have a mindset of the glory beyond the straight gate. You see, going into these times, and the Lord is prepping us for the straight gate daily. That's why we go through our daily trials. Okay, that's why we go through seasons of adversity and seasons of affliction and setbacks. And, we go through betrayals and different things now. Okay, it says he went away the second time and prayed, saying, "Oh my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done." Okay, thy will be done. It was the will of the Father for Yahweh Shai, all right, to partake in that cup, just like it's his will for us to partake, in our lots, our divine appointments, man. Okay, these things are necessary. See, we're not here. Let's go here. 2020. It's Matthew 20:20. Okay, because like I said, we're not here to just tell you about, the honey and not let you know about the bitter. You see, there's a bitterness, okay, before the kingdom. Okay, and as you see, everything, because we haven't seen, true hatred yet. We haven't seen the devil's, propaganda against the ministry yet. We're just in the beginning phases. Okay, we see the stage being set, but there's, a hatred. Okay, there's a persecution coming for following Yahushua. Okay, and we all have our cup, within that persecution. Now, Matthew 20:20, it said, then came to him the mother of Zebedee's children with her sons, worshiping him and desiring a certain thing of him. And he said unto her, what wilt thou? She said unto him, grant that these my two sons may sit, the one on thy right hand and the other on the left, in thy kingdom. Okay, so they're asking, for positions of honor, in the kingdom, which lets you know they had faith in the kingdom. Okay, but they didn't understand what they was asking for, because the more that the Lord gives, the more He requires. You see, the more the Heavenly Father gives, the more He requires. So they're asking for, these top positions in the kingdom, what they're not understanding. There's a cup that come with that. You see, there's a cup that comes with their rank. You see, and that's why we shouldn't want nothing but what's, for us, man. You see, we shouldn't want another office, another rank, nothing that's outside of what the Lord has given us, man. Okay, it says, Matthew 20:22 said, but Yahushua answered and said, you know not what ye ask. Are you able to drink of the cup? The same word, patron, okay, in the Greek, that I shall drink of, those divine appointments, whether adversity or prosperity. You see, everybody has their customized adversity and their customized prosperity after the adversity, man. Okay. It says, and to be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with, they say unto him, we are able. And he said unto them, ye shall drink indeed of my cup and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with, but to sit at my right hand, all right, and on my left is not mine to give, but it shall be given, all right, to them for whom it is prepared of my Father. Okay, so we shall surely drink of our cup, our divine appointment. Okay, which involves a straight gate. You see, and we go into these things to prepare the minds of the elect. Okay, to count the cost, man. We all have to continue. You got to continue to count the cost of this thing daily. All right, that's why you go to Acts 20 and start at 26. Okay, Acts 20 and 26, it says, wherefore I take you to record this day that I am pure from the blood of all men. Okay, for I have shunned not, all right, for I have not shunned to declare unto you all the counsel of the Most High. You see, and we haven't shunned to declare all the counsel. You see, we know we're not here, to have big picnics and, okay, do a dance off, the brothers versus the sister dance off, all right, a beauty pageant, okay, a music video. We're not in that spirit. Not saying that you don't enjoy each other, man. Enjoy each other's company, man. Brothers cooking, eating, watch, fights and kick it. You see, but that's not all right. The foundation. Okay, our foundation, you see, is to prepare for the straight gate. Okay, and not shun the whole counsel. See, we're telling the whole counsel of the Most High. You see, we're speaking the parts that's not marketable to the masses. Okay, we're dealing with the part of the counsel of the Most High. All right, that's not appeasing to the masses. Okay, we're not in that pamphlet spirit, nah, man. Okay, the Lord gives us, moments of laughter and joy, of course. And our joy is in seeing prophecy fulfilled. And there's even joy in the straight gate, because we understand that's a part of the initiation. You see, we understand that the straight gate is a part of, the Lord's initiation for the elect. That's why even when you go here, let's get that. Let's get that in Luke chapter 6. Get an example. This was told to the disciples. This is Luke 6 and 22. You see, and there's joy in everything, man. And that's the thing. Our outward circumstances, don't determine, the joy within. You see, there's a joy within Yahushua that transcends, these outward circumstances, that we now. It's going to be the same thing on the straight gate. We're going to have joy within, even on the straight gate. All right. And when you go into Luke 6 and 22, you have to remember, that's why this word has to be in us, man. Precepts like this, are going to be vital, during the straight gate, on the straight gate, precepts like this, remembering what Yahweh Shai told us, man. Okay. It says Luke 6 and 22 said, "Blessed are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you, and cast out your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake." And see, we have to understand this devil, when he really pushes his propaganda. Okay. You have to remember, man, this man's enchantments, the masses are enchanted by this man's media. Okay. And we're going to see behavior changes around us based off this man's propaganda. Okay. We gotta know that. Like, it's gonna be people that's, you never had any problems with. Okay. Y'all was on, okay terms, man. But when the devil pushes this propaganda, man, they're gonna flip. You see? But that's cool. Okay, when they cast our name out as evil, because it starts off with "Blessed are ye." And this is from Yahweh Shah, this is from our king. It's telling us what? "Blessed are ye when men shall hate you, and when they shall separate you from their company, and shall reproach you and cast out your name as evil for the Son of Man's sake." Man, that's why, we don't invest. We shouldn't be invested into anything, all right, too much outside this truth, man. Because everyone's, liable to flip. Everyone's, a lot of people, even a few people that we deal with now, man. Okay. When the devil really pushes campaign of propaganda, okay, people are going to flip. People are going to cast us as evil. You see, that's a part of following the Lamb. That's a part of that cup. Okay. Verse 23 said, "Rejoice ye in that day, and leap for joy. For behold, your reward is great in heaven. For in like manner did their fathers unto the prophets," man. Okay. So it says leap for joy in the midst of the persecution. So why this is happening, man, Yahweh Shai is telling us to rejoice, man, because that's a part of the initiation of following Yahweh Shai. Okay? Because if we're drinking, the divine appointment for adversity, well, there's a divine appointment for glory behind that adversity, man. And that's what faith kicks in. We got to believe that, man. You see, this is a promise. Yahweh Shai said, "Look, rejoice ye in that day." If you're being persecuted and demonized for my name's sake, great is your reward in heaven. We got to think about that in that moment. And that's going to be a spirit of rejoicing. You see? That's the light of the prophets, man. Okay? So that's why when you go here, by the time you get here to the book of Acts, chapter 5, you remember he's telling this directly to the disciples, which will become apostles. Okay? So as apostles, when they went through there, when they started to go through their adversity, when they started to be persecuted, okay, for teaching Yahweh Shai, well, they had a certain, mindset, a certain spirit on them. Okay, this is Acts 5 and 33. I'm gonna read the account, read through it. It says, when they heard that, this is when, they had been, apprehended for teaching the word. Okay, in the name of Yahweh Shai. Okay, it says, when they heard that, they were cut to the heart and took counsel to slay them. Then stood there up one in the council, a Pharisee named Gamaliel, a doctor of the law, had in reputation among all the people, and commanded to put the apostle forth a little space, and said unto them, "Ye men of Israel, take heed to yourselves what you intend to do as touching these men." Okay, for before these days rose up through this, boasting himself to be somebody, to whom a number of men, about 400, joined themselves, who were slain, and all as many as obeyed him were scattered and brought to naught. After this, a man rose up, Judas of Galilee, in the days of the taxing, and drew away much people after him. He also perished, and even as many as obeyed him were dispersed. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men and let them alone. For if this counsel, all right, or this work be of men, it will come to naught. But if it be of the Most High, you cannot overthrow. At least happily be found even to fight against the Most High. So he's giving them sound counsel. Is how they handle the apostles. Okay, like look, if what they're doing, is not of the Most High, all right, it's gonna get broke up anyway. And we're witness of that. Certain camps we've seen get broke up. It's not of the Most High. There's more to come. You see, but if it be of the Most High, there's nothing you can do about it, and you'll find yourself fighting against the Most High if it's ordained by the Most High. Man, see, these people, they're finna fight against what's ordained by the Most High. And see, that's the thing. They don't understand. Okay, these people that's getting ready to persecute and demonize and jump on the bandwagon, they don't understand what they're doing. Okay, they don't understand. All right, the judgment. All right, they're putting themselves in the line of hell of a judgment, man. Okay, we have to remember that as well. It says, and to him they agreed, and when they had called the apostles and beaten them, they commanded that they should not speak in the name of Yahweh and let them go. And they departed from the presence of the council, rejoicing that they were counted worthy to suffer shame for his name. You see that? So here it is, they was beaten for teaching. All right. And they walked away rejoicing because they was worthy to suffer shame for his name, man. And we have to walk in with that same spirit. We have to walk into the Strait gate with that same spirit, and the spirit of rejoicing, man. You see, when we talk about the Strait gate, it ain't, to give you a heavy mind or give ourselves a heavy mind. No, it's to understand, okay, this is what it is. Okay. And even on the Strait gate, there's a rejoicing, man. Verse 52, it says, and daily in the temple and in every house, they cease not to teach and preach Yahweh Shah of Masiyah, man. So they kept preaching, man, regardless of the persecution, man. That's what you call being steadfast. And they remember what was told to them in Luke, because he said, look, they rejoiced because they was worthy, because they understood there's a reward. That was them being initiated, man, into from the outside looking in. It sounds crazy, it's supposed to be foolish unto our people that perish, as the scriptures say. Okay, they finna perish, man. You see, but we understand, and this is not nothing that's surprising. No, we're constantly told these things, man. Okay, from the apostles on down. Okay, within the ministry, man, there's a suffering comes up often, man. The Strait gate comes up often. Okay, Acts 14:22, it says, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in faith, and that we must, all right, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of the Most High. So through much tribulation, we shall enter into the kingdom of the Most High. Okay, but we to what? Continue in the faith. The faith that there's a glory beyond the Strait gate, and the tribulation is going to be bearable, man. The Lord's not going to put us through something that's unbearable, man. Okay, the Strait gate is refining us, man. It's the last phase of our refining before we're perfected, man. You see, the cross was the last stage of Yahweh Shai's refining before he was perfected forever, man. Okay, so when we go, all right, let's go here. Let's get this in the book of Philippians. Let's get the book of Philippians chapter 3. Okay, it says, but what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Hamashiach. And see, we have to have, as I say, that mindset. everything is lost. If we gain Yahweh Shai, anything is anything is on the chopping block. For Yahweh Shai, anything and anybody's on the chopping block. Okay? For Yahweh Shai, anything and anybody is on the chopping block, man. You see? Anything, that's a no-brainer trade-off. Okay, because we're coming to a time we're gonna lose, man. We're gonna lose things on this side. We're not gonna lose. We're gonna lose things on this side and gain on the other side, man. You see, but it has to be a faith in the other side and the glory beyond the straight gate. It has to be a faith in it. Okay, he says, yeah, doubtless, and I count all things but loss. You see, I count all things but loss for the excellency of the knowledge of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Yahweh Shai, man. Okay, and the Apostle Paul was a man, status. He had a certain reputation. He was raised of a Pharisee. He was on his way to be part of the Sanhedrin. Okay, even his family, had a certain name in Rome. Okay, that's why he was even, known by, certain nobles. Okay, of the Roman Empire. You see, so Apostle Paul, he looked at his former life before Yahweh Shai, which as he began to teach Yahweh Shai, he became very hated. You read the book of Acts, man, you see, there was an intense hatred towards the Apostle Paul for teaching Yahweh Shai. You see, and he could have went on the broad gate. He had a path of less resistance, just being a Pharisee. He could have had, him a nice position amongst the Sanhedrin. He could have had him, a good name amongst, the, Rome. Okay. But no, he counted all loss. He counted as nothing to gain Yahweh Shai. Okay. So we're coming into a time where, everything, is nothing compared to gaining Yahweh Shai. You see, when you go to let's get this in the NLT. When you go to Philippians 3:8, okay, when you go to the NLT, and it says NLT. All right, this is Philippians 3:8 in the NLT. It says, yes, everything else is worthless when compared with the infinite. Okay, Yahweh Shai, my Lord, for his sake I have discarded everything else, counting all as garbage so that I can gain Yahweh Shai, man. Okay, so we look at our life, man. Look, we're gonna have to give up everything. We have to give all these things up, man. We have to leave this world behind. Okay, and gain Yahweh Shai. You see, that's the mind we should be in. We're gonna have to give up everything to gain Yahweh Shai. We're gonna have to go the straight gate, man. Okay, the way that's not gonna be chosen by many. Okay, because as we come to the straight gate, see right now, like I say, it's cute to be an Israelite. To make your little post and do your little pictures and I say the community, the social media community. You see, you can dress up. Okay, your armbands and you see, the armbands, the 2 feet tall head wraps. Okay, you play dress up. You can, have these little cute communities on social media and yeah, man. But it's gonna come to a time where now we're gonna have to get uncomfortable for Yahweh Shai. Then we're gonna see what's good. When it's time to get uncomfortable for Yahweh Shai, then we're gonna see what's good, man. We're gonna be tested. We're gonna see who's authentic on the straight gate. You see, the straight gate is gonna prove authenticity. Okay. That's one that we want to see who has authentic faith, man. You know, we're going to be tried. Matthew 7:13, it says, enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat, man. And we come to a time where what that sea hip is going to be that broad way. It's going to be the easy path. It's going to be the quick solution. Okay, it's going to be a quick path, you know, to comfort. It's going to be presented as a quick path to comfort. Okay, it says, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life. You see, which leading unto life, and few there be that find it, man. So the glory is on the straight gate. The broad way is a guaranteed destruction, guaranteed, you know, because that's a betrayal. You know, the broad gate for an Israelite is the ultimate betrayal to Yahweh by Shemal Shah. You know, taking that sea hip, man. Okay, but nah, man, it's gonna be the path of uncomfort is gonna lead to a glory. Okay, a temporary uncomfort is gonna lead to an eternal glory, man. You see, and that's the path, you know, that we're headed towards, man. You know, and we have to believe in the glory, okay, beyond the adversity. You see, so that's the point. You know, I leave it there, Lord will. You know, you brothers, all right, and you few sisters edified once again. Want to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shah Bahashem, Kakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers, and peace and blessing and salutation to the hope of Shalom.